Okay.
Was this from your database? This mailing? Yeah. The invite for the graduation? Joining members.
Okay. Yep. And you already know?
I know that, so then go sign it.
Go ahead.
All right, I'd like to call the regular April 9th meeting of the Police and Fire Commission to order. We'll do the roll call. Vice President Schaaf.
Present.
Commissioner Roloff.
Present.
I'm President Goldhahn, and we're still waiting for Commissioner Wanizek. When he arrives, I will announce that. Approval of the agenda. You received the agenda in the mail. Any changes or corrections? The only thing I see is that we have public hearing, it's number 7. We have none scheduled for today, so we'll strike that from the agenda. Other than that, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Roloff.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Schaaf. All those in favor?
Yes.
Okay, need
Opposed?
to go a little bit
Oh,
slower,
sorry.
Commissioners. I'm sorry.
All right.
Because that motion was by Mary and second by Schaaf.
Yes.
Okay.
Just for the recorded record, we are kicking off the maiden voyage of the city's new system for electronically managing voting at these meetings. And so currently that's being recorded. So. All everyone ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Next item is the approval of the minutes you received in the mail. Okay. One says 9:15. All right. Just got a text from Commissioner Wanizek, and I'll respond to him real quick. All right, so we should be here soon. You received minutes from the March 1st meeting, and also meeting of our special minutes of our special meeting held February 27th. Are there any corrections or additions? Now I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schaaf,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion unanimously carried. Information, President's report. I'm sure Chief Litton will be talking this, but you should have received in the mail an invitation to the fire graduation. And then I was just going to reiterate that we are starting the paperless system for the city. And this will be a test case, and we'll conduct the rest of our agendas and voting via electronic systems in the future. So we'll go from the chiefs. And, Chief Litton, why don't we start with you?
Very good. Just a couple things to report. The Recruit Academy is going along just fine. I think we have 6 outstanding people in the academy. I've heard nothing but good things from their instructors. I actually taught the class last week. I taught one of the classes, and a really good group with a lot of insight and very experienced people. We can tell already that they're going to fit in just well, just from the nature of their experience level in other departments. So that's going along just fine, and we're expecting them all to be graduating. The graduation, as Chairman Goldhahn referred to, is April 27th, 5 o'clock in NWTC. The instructions and the locations were sent to you, but we'll have people out in the parking lot there just to kind of direct you that day anyway. Same spot we've had it the last couple of years. So if you've been there, it should be right in exactly the same spot. And if you haven't been, we'll be looking for you.
Just
so
look for the big fire truck in front of the door.
Yeah, look for the big fire truck. We'll be there. We have one vacancy right now. We have one of our fire investigator/inspectors is in the process, if not completed right at this second, it will be shortly, going out on a duty disability related to a medical condition. And so that created a vacancy in that position. So our current public information officer, Cody Johnson, is moving over into his spot, so that has created a vacancy in our public educator/public information officer position. We've been reviewing the job description on that. and there'll be a few minor tweaks to it this week. I expect to post it by the end of the week, and we'll give a couple of weeks to see if anybody's interested in filling that position from within the ranks.
Chief, if I can interrupt, back on the graduation, is the family event going on as well?
It will be done in a smaller scale, and I'll have to get you some further detail on that. There's a conflict with the actual site out at NWTC that day, so I don't know that they finalized the plan and whether it's going to be a shortened version of that.
Okay.
So I'll get those details to you here by the end of the week.
Okay. Nancy, I know you've gone to that, but Marion, it's a chance for the families to see some of the things they do. We've got some demonstrations as part of that, so if you're available and have time, it's a fairly interesting process.
Yeah, so I'll get that to you. I will tell you that they'll also be out there this coming Thursday all day at the Public Safety Burn Tower, going through evolutions all day. I've got it on my calendar to be out there in the morning just for some observation, but if you're interested in going to that, by all means, let us know, and we'll let you know exactly where it's at, and make sure that you can observe what's going on in a safe location. So just let us know about that. We also had, I did have one resignation that went into effect last Thursday. Scott Brush, who's been with us a couple of years, resigned. He is going to be moving out of state to relocate, essentially. So that position is open. We won't refill it until next year's process, just because we're so far into the academy that it's not possible to plug anybody else in. So that's going on. That's about all we have at this point.
And interviews, is that later? The dates are confirmed?
The battalion chief interviews, yes, you should have those. Let me pull them up.
30th, 1st, and 4th?
That's correct, yep.
And all 3 days will?
Yes.
Okay. And where are we going to hunt?
They're going to be here in City Hall. They're still working on scheduling the rooms, so probably we'll be in 207 again, and then maybe up here, but we're working on those right now. So
okay, got it done.
we have to coordinate that here at City Hall. New process, so we're working on it.
Okay.
Any other questions for the chief? All right, Chief, looks like we do have one more item for you, the approval of the fire process, so we'll do that as soon as Chief Smith is done, and then we'll kick you free, because the rest of it is all place.
Okay, so crime is down 5% overall year to date, which is good for us. Property crimes are down 10%. We are seeing an increase in aggravated assaults and sexual assaults, making our violent crime up 24%. The numbers are pretty small, well under 100 for those this year and last year. Typical aggravated assault was what happened over the weekend. Guy clobbers his girlfriend, cops come, we take him, he's in custody. There's no pattern of shootings or anything like that. There's no patterns of things happening. It's almost all domestic violence related or two people that knew each other. So that's looking at those. And the sexual assault stuff is usually kids in school, underage people engaging in consensual sex, which ends up becoming a statistic for us. There's no stranger sexual assaults, anything like that. There's no serial, anything that's going along. We are seeing an increase in car thefts over the last year, and a lot of that is cars that are left running. People leave their car running. Also, a lot of them that are disputes between people. Person A gives the car to person B, says be back in 3 hours. 3 days later, they haven't got their car back. We reach out to the state because we have about a half a dozen of those that occurred this year, and their preference is that we list those as a fraud case rather than a car theft case, which is fine with us, and we just want to be consistent with everybody else. So I don't know if we'll be going forward, we'll be doing that. Going back, I don't think it makes sense to go back and change it for past years or anything like that. We got approval from the union to bring back the sergeant position, which was a big, long struggle for us. Andy Nicholson pulled me aside and says he's been hoping we could do that for the past 8 years. But we were able to get an agreement after our 4th try with the union to agree that sergeants would be a good position for us. So we're looking at doing interviews for sergeants. We'll pull them out of our existing pool. You have to have 6 years on to apply, 7 years to actually take the position. A lot of work went into that, so I'm really happy that we're able to do that. I think it passed 67% So that was good news for us. One of our detectives, Brad Linsmeyer, is being honored as the Homicide Detective of the Year for the state of Wisconsin. So we'll be going to Eau Claire to have him accept that award at a homicide conference he's at. And that's through a lot of work that he's been done. He's just a fantastic guy. His real forte, I think, is interviewing people. If he can sit down in a room with somebody and just talk to them, he's able to solve so many cases like that, not just homicides, but are real important cases. So he's a real great asset to have on our department.
So does he assist other departments?
In fact, this was one of the ones that he did was the Appleton shooting that they had down
Okay.
there. We were doing that investigation, so he assisted with that and came up with some really good information on there to help us kind of figure out what happened down
Okay,
there.
'cause given we haven't had homicides, it's surprising.
Right,
Okay,
yeah,
so
he's the Maytag repairman of detectives, right?
Okay,
So-
all right, very good.
Yeah, we did have one homicide that's classified as a homicide. It was a man beat to death his 24-day-old infant son.
Oh,
And
that's right.
so that technically is classified as a homicide, but it's been well over a year since we've had any other homicides. I think November of 16 was the last we had, which was the double over on the west side, or murder-suicide over on the west side. On the 16th, I'll be meeting with the school district. We're having a public meeting to talk about school safety again. That's a big issue for us. As you know, my proposal was that if we really wanted to solve the problem, we're really serious about it, we would need a armed person in the school. And I suggested, because we have so many top quality 30-year veterans that retire out of here but are looking to continue to work, that didn't meet a lot of support from anybody on the council or on the school district board. We're going to talk about it again on the 16th at one of the high schools, and I just noticed in the paper today that West De Pere has called for an armed officer in every school in the West De Pere School District, so we'll see how that goes. We're talking about some patrol organization changes. Basically, now that we have the sergeants, we think maybe it would behoove us to have a little more leadership on each of the watches. So we've got the 3 community policing captains. We're thinking of putting them on the watches to provide that single point of leadership, because really a watch will have a couple sergeants and a bunch of lieutenants, and without one single person on there, I think that it would be a little more difficult for everybody to know what their chain of command is. So we're looking to do that maybe in the beginning of June. They'll have some more information on that once we flush it all out. That would mean we'd have a captain in charge of all of community policing, overseeing all the community policing officers, maybe a couple lieutenants in there assisting with that, and moving around some of the other lieutenants into some of the other positions. I think probably opening up one in detectives, so there'll be some movement for the lieutenants, some opportunities for them to get a change of pace if they've been working the road for a period of time. And I think that's it.
So once all that's fleshed out, will you provide us a new chain of
I'll give you a new org chart with everything, with everybody's name on it, and Paul's pretty good about coming up with that. And it's not for sure, and nothing's for sure yet, but we're working through the last details of that.
Okay. Any other questions for the chief?
If there are armed officers in schools, do they receive different sort of training for that?
So this is, again, just my recommendation, and I don't
Yeah.
get to decide, I just get to make recommendations. Right now, we have 11 school resource officers in the schools. They're armed. We recently put them through active shooter training, and I wanted to make sure that I was comfortable that they were going to respond appropriately after what we saw happen down in Florida. My idea, though, is that you have an armed school safety officer that's not concerned with truancy, that's not concerned with kids smoking, that's not concerned with minor behavioral problems, but is there to provide security in the school. As you know, the governor has released, and the state legislature has released $100 million in school security funding. I thought a good part of that would be to have this armed officer. And I think of a guy like Dave Van Aram, who's probably getting close to retirement, or Mike Francis, who's one of our guys who left after close to 30 years. He's had 30 years of experience. He's been a SWAT team leader. I know he'd like to do it because he mentioned it to me that he would. But to have him with his 30 years of experience in there to protect that school, I would feel comfortable having my kids there, knowing that one of those guys was in the school. But again, it's just my suggestion, and I don't get to make the rules, so I just get to make the suggestion.
And this would be somebody that would be working for the school district, employed by the school district, as opposed to under your supervision.
Right, they would be employed by the school district. Here's the thing, officers under their pension system aren't allowed to work too much. So I met with a group of chiefs from the state of Wisconsin the other day in Oshkosh, and we talked a little bit about it. It's possible that a private organization could hire these officers. The school could pay for that private organization. They could be reserve officers with us. We're to make sure they get the required amount of training. We do backgrounds on all of them and to make sure that they have the temperament and experience and all the things we want. In fact, once I mentioned it, and there were a couple articles in the paper, I got calls and emails from across the state. Hey, I'm a retired chief from this place, and this sounds like a terrific opportunity. I think I'd be a great fit for it. And even some military people reached out to me. So, again, it's still just a suggestion at this point, and not a lot of support on the people that are on the school district, but they get to make the ultimate decision.
Based on the size of some of these high schools, though, it's hard to imagine that one person would have an impact on.
Yeah, my thing is, I agree, but it would be, to me, one person there would be better than no persons there. And if I think of my kid's school and the lack of security there, if I think of the response that we had, and I give this example a lot, we responded to the Lambeau Field incident in 4 minutes and 57 seconds. That guy was in handcuffs on the floor, which is a fantastic response time. But if I think of what a guy with an assault rifle or AR-15 could do in one of our schools in 4 minutes and 57 seconds, you know, it seems to me that piece of the puzzle that's missing between securing the door and giving Alice training to everybody and doing all those things, that piece is missing, is somebody that can stand up there and make sure that they're there to stop whatever's going on. It's great that we have the school resource officers, but a lot of them are moved from school to school, dealing with problems and following up with kids and transporting kids and that type of thing. This person would be dedicated to that school. Their job is school security and nothing else.
Better than that one district giving every teacher a bucket of rocks.
I saw that in the paper. Yeah, the bucket of rocks that they were going to arm the people with, so they could throw stones back at that. And you know, we met with the school district. They've been terrific. You know, the superintendent is, you know, willing to look at everything. I've had some really good discussions with them about changing some of the security systems that they have at their school, the camera systems that they have, things of that nature. They've been really working really well with them. So we're going to continue that. We meet monthly with them to talk about whatever issues come up. So, but it is a hot topic now. I don't see it going away as a topic, and I think we need to change the way we look at schools and school security if we want to be serious about keeping all our kids safe.
I guess the one thing I noticed when I was working a lot with the schools is that during the day, when you go to a school, the doors are locked, so you have to ring to be let in.
Mm-hmm.
Once the school day is over, the doors are open, so anybody could be going into that school. So somebody could hide out in that school all night and be there when the kids arrive in the morning, you know.
That's a good point.
So why they leave them unlocked for free flow after the hours, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Somebody could be just carrying everything they want in there.
That's a great thing to bring up at my next meeting. I'll ask about that and see if they're still doing
They're
that.
still doing that.
All right, any other questions for Chief Smith? All right, thank you. Next item is consideration with possible action on the request to approve the 2018 Fox Valley Technical College Regional Firefighter hiring process. That process was in your packet. Chief, is that any different than last year? So all this does is give us dates.
Well, yeah, one difference that I'm recommending for the commission to approve would be all the requirements are all the same, with the exception that we would be changing from their certification and requirements being available at application, changing that over to being available at hire. We feel that that's going to open up our pool of candidates. Will be more people that will be eligible that way, people that are in their last semester at any of the technical colleges, somebody that might be taking their EMT license test, you know, in the interim period, as long as they have it prior to the date of our starting our academy, we're fine with that. We just ask for the certifications, we get them in, we verify. That's a very short process.
What's the time frame from application to hire?
Well, they apply in June.
Okay.
So their testing actually starts in June. So they'll apply in June, and then we don't actually hire. You know, we do our interviews in November, December,
Yeah.
and then we're not hiring until the first Monday in March. So there's 8 months.
So they could be just in their final
Yeah.
year of
Sure.
associate degree. Because I was reading that about associate degrees. So I was wondering what the time.
Yep. So that could be they could be in their final semester. They could be taking their EMTB license in that 8-month period, and it just makes sense that as long as we can verify it before their start date, just to open up our pool of candidates. You know, the pool is shrinking. The first year we did this, I think we had about 150 applicants specifically to Green Bay. This last year, I think we had 75, roughly. So I've been I think that has something to do with the economy and the fact that there's so many jobs out there and available that that's one thing, but I also think that this might be just an issue. So not changing the requirements at hire, just when they have to have that available for us. So we feel that there's probably 10, 15, 20 more candidates every year that would fall into this 8-month period that they'll have their requirements. So
when the minimum requirements are listed, they have to have all of those by the time
yep. So
they start.
I'll just run through them very quickly for you. They have to have their Wisconsin driver's license. They have to have an associate degree in a related field, which we determine if they submit something, paramedic or fire protection technician. They have to be certified firefighter 1 and 2 at the time of hire under this proposal. They have to be an EMTB at hire, and then they have to, obviously the residency hasn't changed, so it's the residency requirements. So we're just basically saying that at the time that we hire you, before the start date, you have to have those requirements.
Would you envision then the application process, there'd be offers made to some people that it'd be contingent on them, obtaining the
Certainly possible, yeah. During the interviews, if they don't have them, we get a spreadsheet of what they have at the time that they've applied. And anything that they don't have, that if they've applied and they're our top candidates, we would certainly highlight that during the interview process. We'd ask them about it, see where they stand. And then we'd obviously verify, at the time of offer.
Okay. Any further questions? Not, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw,
Second?
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Give Melanie a chance to catch
up.
up on the system. For the commissioners in the future, you'll each have tablets. And so when these votes take place, we'll do an oral vote, but you'll also note on the tablet your vote. And they're just doing this for all of us now rather than doing that. Chief, given that, I think everything else is police, so thank you.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to come out Thursday, let me know.
Okay.
It's an all-day thing, but you can come for half an hour, you can come for an hour if you want to see what they're doing. They'll be doing a lot of the evolutions that they're doing at Family Day, but family won't be there, essentially. So. Yeah, I'm going to leave this for you. It's just the actual signature, so if you sign it, if Joe wants to sign it. Then I need to email that to them the next couple of days. I'm looking for you.
So send you the original.
Okay, we've got a couple of communications. Consideration with possible action on the following communications: the budget status report and the budget spreadsheet. Looks like all we had there were physicals and drug screens for the fighter candidates. So our spending has gone way down, which we would expect since we've completed the hiring of the fire candidates, and these are just the final pieces of that.
We're only 3 months in, we're already used half of our
Yeah,
budget.
yeah.
Is that a concern?
Not necessarily, because some of those are one-time charges that come early in the year.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
so
It'll slow down
we'll
now?
still keep an eye on it, but
Okay.
right now I don't think we're concerned.
Okay.
So unless there are some questions, I will entertain a motion to receive and place those on file.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Roloff,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Wozak. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimously carried. And then consideration with possible action on a request to approve the monthly bills. All the bills in your packet were the ones dealing with the physicals and the drug screens for the fire candidates. So, if there are questions, I'll entertain a motion to authorize approval.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff to approve the payment of monthly bills. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously carried. We will pay the bills. And now, consideration with possible action on the review of patrol officer candidate backgrounds. The commission may convene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.5, paragraph 1, sub C and F Wisconsin statutes to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. The commission may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to section 19.5, paragraph 2, Wisconsin statutes, to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda. Since there are 2 closed session items on the agenda, I'm going to read the closed session for the next one. We will go into closed session once, cover both these agenda items, and when I report out, I'll report out as separate reports. So the next item is interviews with patrol officer candidates, and pursuant to section 19.5, paragraph 1, sub F Wisconsin statutes, the commission may convene in closed session for the purpose of interviewing, evaluating, and considering employment of patrol officer candidates. So, given those 2 closed session readings, is there a motion to go into closed sessions for both items?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wanzek,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Shaw. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in closed session. We'll wait till Mike gets the video recorder off. All right, we are back in open session. While in closed session, we reviewed 3 background investigations, and we interviewed 3 candidates, and then reviewed a 4th after we reviewed 4 backgrounds. Through that process, we are continuing 3 candidates in the hiring process, and we rejected 1 candidate. Next agenda item is to set the date of the next meeting. Normally, that would be May 3rd, but I have a conflict with that date, so I'm going to suggest I can do it Wednesday, May 2nd, or we could delay a week and do it on the 10th. Anyone have a
Let me check
preference?
on May 10th. You were thinking the 2nd or the 10th?
Yep.
At the regular time?
Mhm.
Can you get Rachel on the line, please? Can you get Rachel on the line, please? She'll put whatever time she wants. Yeah, can you go to May 10th, please? Am I available at 3:30? 3, I'm sorry, 3 o'clock.
Or the 2nd.
Okay. No notation?
Doesn't make any difference.
How about May 2nd, which is a Wednesday, at 3? Yeah, okay, thank you. Pencil in May 2nd for POC at 3 o'clock. Yeah, the 10th is iffy, so if you want to do the 2nd, that will work for sure. That works for others.
Okay. All right, so our next meeting will be on Wednesday, May 2nd at 3 p.m. That being the last item on the agenda, is there a motion to? Sorry.
Just take this in.
So moved.
All right, there's a
Second.
motion by Commissioner Wanzek to adjourn, seconded by Commissioner Shaw. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you. Those are the yours. You turn yours in, right?
No.
Those are mine. She wants these things, I guess.
Okay, so the motion was by Warren,
Yep.
seconded by
Nancy.
Nancy.
Can I leave
We're
this?
still recording too, right?
Oh, that's weird.